Welcome to Uncommon Analysis. Today we're going to talk about Donald Trump's nomination of Matthew Gaetz for Attorney General of the United States. As you know, Trump has been starting to name his nominees for various cabinet positions, and I think it's pretty safe to say that none has caused more of a stir than the nomination of Matt Gaetz for the role of Attorney General. The reactions so far have fallen primarily into three camps. The Republican side of the aisle is this is good, this is decent, we like it, it's all right, it's good. To the very extreme side of the right, which is the best thing since the Earth cooled and humans evolved. Nothing could beat it. On the far left side of the aisle, you have this is the end of the world. Could not get any better. Things could not get any worse. Uh, it's absolutely the worst possible person and the worst possible thing that could ever happen. And then you have kind of in the middle, which is more of a jaw-dropping, eyebrow-raising. What the hell am I watching here? What's going on? Because it is so outside the norm and it is so crazy. So that's kind of the gamut. But there is one analyst who I think has nailed this nomination spot on, and he doesn't really fit in any of those three buckets, which is why I think he's one of the reasons I think people should listen to him. Because I think what he says about this nomination probably is more correct than anything you're hearing out of anything in the media or the blogosphere today. Right? So let's go to the reaction. Let's go. Here's the Republican reaction. Obviously, here's Speaker Johnson reacting, being asked about, Gaetz being nominated.
Well, I talked with Matt immediately after that nomination was made. In fact, President Trump told me this morning when he walked in, we were behind the curtains. He tipped me off that would be happening. Matt and I were classmates. We came to Congress at the same time in the 115th Congress in January 2017, and alphabetically we're seated right next to one another in Judiciary Committee. We served there together for 7 years. Some of y'all who cover Judiciary know those are long meetings. So I got to know Matt very well. Look, I'll say this. Everyone who served with him will tell you he's one of the most intelligent members of Congress. He's an accomplished attorney. He's very concerned about the lawfare that has been occurring in the Department of Justice under the Biden administration, and the fact that the American people have lost their faith in our institutions of justice because of everything that we've seen. He's a reformer in his mind and heart, and I think that he'll bring a lot to the table on that.
Okay, so there you go. We like him. Think it's a good pick. Think it's all good, right? Standard. You would expect kind of what you would expect from the establishment party in charge. They're not going to abush him. Now there have been individual senators and such that have reacted less than positively, but I say that's probably a good reaction, summation of the reaction on the right. This moderate, yeah, he's good, to the, like I said, the far right, extreme right. It's the best thing that ever happened in the world. What about the left? What about the left? Let's see. What do we got here on the left? Uh, Here we are. This is Senator Chris Murphy responding to it. This is a sitting senator on the other side of the aisle responding to it. Ready?
This is going to be a red alert moment for American democracy. Matt Gaetz is being nominated for one reason and one reason only, because he will implement Donald Trump's transition of the Department of Justice from an agency that stands up for all of us to an agency that is simply an arm of the White House designed to persecute and prosecute Trump's political enemies. This is a stunning announcement in some ways, but not surprising in others.
So there you go. That's the Democrat side of the aisle. That's the left. Oh my God, it's the craziest thing I've ever heard. This can't be real. Let me curl up in my fetal position and cry. So it's kind of the opposite of the right, right? And of course, the very far extreme really are curling up and crying over this. Then you have more, I don't know, let's say more. Here we go. Get the skip ball. Here's a little more extreme to the left. This is Michael. This is John Bolton. For those who don't know who he is, let's just say he's definitely to the left of the gentleman who just spoke in his reaction to this. And let's hear what he's got to say.
To nominate Matt Gaetz to run the Department of Justice. What was your immediate reaction when you heard that?
Well, it must be the worst nomination for a cabinet position in American history. I think this is something that falls well outside the scope of deference that should be given to a president in nominating members of his senior team. Gaetz is not only totally incompetent for this job, he doesn't have the character. He is a person of moral turpitude. And notwithstanding how difficult it may be politically, this is a nomination the Republican Party should oppose.
You're saying.
So there you go. And that's not even the worst extreme. This is just, but there you go. It's the worst thing ever. Now, I'd like to get one more reaction before I get into the analyst that I'd like you to listen to. And that is John Fetterman. I think John Fetterman's onto something here. I think John Fetterman knows and understands what's going on here better than all the people you've heard up until this moment. And what did John Fetterman have to say? Well, let's listen.
I mean, I would describe it as God tier level trolling to just trigger a full-on China syndrome to own the libs in perpetuity.
And I think he's absolutely right. I think Trump has nominated this guy for that. That's part of the reason he's done it. But I think there's more to it than that. And the analyst I'd like you guys to listen to for about a minute that I think is spot on what Trump's doing here and why he nominated him is a gentleman named Chris Cillizza. I'm sorry, Chris, if I mispronounced your name, but I think you've got this spot on. I'd like to share what your thoughts are on this with the audience here because I think you have nailed it.
So Trump is not dumb, no matter what you think of him. He's very aware of how people perceive him. And I think he knows that while every Senate Republican, if not everyone, almost every one of them, is publicly very supportive of him, and yes, MAGA and all that, that there are plenty of them who are a better fit in sort of like the establishment Republican Party that existed before Donald Trump, the kind of Mitt Romney version, the Mitch McConnell version of the Republican Party. And that very much includes John Thune, who earlier in the day was elected Senate Majority Leader in a closed-door private ballot vote over MAGA favorite and Trump close ally Rick Scott, right? So the Thune vote is in some ways proof to Trump that, well, yeah, these people, I'll say they're for me, but like if they can hide behind privacy, then they're not for me. So if you see it through that lens, I think what he's doing, at least in part, is saying, here's my guy, Attorney General, one of the most important jobs in the cabinet. You, Republican senator, said you support me, that you're MAGA, that you're on the Trump train. Well, this is my pick. So are you for me or are you against me? And in so doing, he puts them very much on the spot, right? Because the confirmation hearings for Matt Gaetz will be public. They will be televised. They will be very closely watched. And the vote, assuming it comes to a vote, will also be public. We will have on the record who is for Matt Gaetz and who is against Matt Gaetz. I think Trump knows that. I think he is daring those senators who roll their eyes at him in private to buck him publicly, knowing what happens to Republicans who buck him publicly. Nothing good, politically speaking. So I think that's what's happening.
Now, there you are. There you are. I think, Chris, you got it spot on. I give a big thumbs up to you, and I give you a salute. I think that's exactly what Trump's doing. I don't think Trump has any problem with Gaetz filling position, but I don't even know if that's his goal here. I think more of his goal is to basically weed out more of the establishment Republicans to make them understand it's no longer, the Bush era. And let's weed them out. Let's get them publicly out there so we can make sure they are dealt with. This is, I think, the best analysis anyone has offered. Anyone has offered on Matt Gaetz' nomination. So, do you agree? If you do, leave some comments. If you disagree, leave some comments too. If you like this type of video, please subscribe and share this video with others. I think this guy's got it, and I think more people need to hear that because I have not heard this anywhere, and I think he's spot on. All right, with that, have a great day, guys. I'm out.